integration scenarios, sharing information between systems, sharing information between institutions. And also my job is to make sure that we do exactly as we had planned. Sometimes architects design something but it's implemented in a different way. My role is also to stay on top of this and make sure that they actually implement it at the same time. And therefore I have, for this scenario, also talk to Infidel and make sure that we do this as we had planned. A little bit about the University of Amsterdam, and I have to be specific. The University of Amsterdam is actually a university. We have partnered, or we are bound on the board level with another school, which is called the University of Applied Sciences in Amsterdam. But technically, this is not a university. So from now on, we're going to have to revert to university. That's our school, and then the other one is the HVA, which is not really the university. But at the same time, we share a lot of the same resources. We share services. So we are 30,000 students in the University of Amsterdam alone. There are about 5,000 people staff. We're located all across Amsterdam. This is a nice aerial view. Thanks a lot for that, Mark. And we have different schools in the city, but we don't have any campuses. In America, this is different. You usually have a campus where everybody is, but students just have to find some place to live, go to school. We just basically offer different facilities. And this is just I think we have over 200 different locations in the city alone. Just to give you some quick numbers, we steadily grow. I think we are, on average, one of the top universities in Holland. And this is the school, the high school, HVA. Saying it high school because the Dutch translation of the high school. This is the University of Applied Sciences. Again, a very big school. Different audience, different students, but also 40,000 students, roughly, and 8,000 people in staff. So together we have 80,000 students, 15,000 people in staff. So it's a rather large institution. And again, they have the same issue that we have. We don't have one location, we have multiple locations as well. And we actually share locations now. So sometimes university students actually go to the school buildings that actually belong to the other institutions. But this is the background. This is not relevant anymore. Let's talk about the business. We have a real business case. We have an integration platform. I don't know if anybody knows what an integration platform is, or enterprise service bus. But an enterprise service bus is actually a system that sits in the middle of your information systems, and they share data. We had this in place for quite some time. We had it in place as a hosting provider, and pretty much 6 months before the end of the contract, they said, well, we're not going to extend the contract, you're on your own from now on. Basically, we're going to shut down the system. So we had 6 months' time to find a solution to actually, sometimes it's very to do an open heart surgery. You had to remove our enterprise service bus and put it somewhere else. This is a very difficult task to do. And we also found out that they actually didn't really deliver on the product, on the service that they offered. They never did any service patches, they never did any operating system patches. We were heavily under risk of security leaks. So we said, well, let's bring one platform in the middle again, and then for both institutions. We want to do as much as we can together. That's the goal from our directors, and that's the goal that was set. Anything that we can share as the university and the HVA, we should share it. So that's the most important, the shared services goal. Now, just to roughly walk you through what is an enterprise service bus. In the old days, you would connect systems to systems without a layer in the middle, which is very effective, but gets very complicated once you have systems that share more data. For example, if you have HR data, a person enters the university, becomes a member, his information needs to be shared to maybe 20, 30 different systems. You don't want to have interfacing with all those systems individually. You want to use a loose coupling scenario. You send your data to the central integration hub, and that central integration hub actually sends that information to all systems that actually need that information. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this scenario well. So this is our scenario. We had this in place, but we had to do it again. But we had to do it differently. We had to do it for 2 institutions. And in the end, this doesn't matter. This platform that we use, you can run it for maybe 100 different institutions. Because in the end, it's only data to system, data to data. It doesn't matter. The system itself is not aware of what kind of data it is. That's the architecture. So just to give you a brief example, you can see that we actually use a lot of the same systems. We use an ECC, which is an ERP solution. We use a student information system, which stands for SIS. we both have the same systems, so why not share one information hub that actually shares that information across? Now, bring them back to the business case. We had this in place, and then it all stopped. 6 months' time, we had to find a new partner to run our SAP platform. And I specifically call SAP because SAP, it's not our ERP solution, it's our process integration, a process information system. And it actually is only used for information exchange. Our ERP system is not the one that I'm talking about. And we also have our IDM system. Actually, the HVA had their IDM system running on this platform, and Syllabus Plus, which I'll cover in a little bit. But all these three systems were running on an infrastructure that was coming to an end, so we had to move it. And this is where our partner came in. I said, well, we were looking for partners, we were talking to different vendors, and they all came up with solutions. But Incudo, our partner, said, well, listen, we have a platform in the cloud where we're pretty much convinced we can actually do the same job for a fraction of the money and within the time we guarantee delivery. Very challenging job, and I'll get to the results later. A different approach. SAP, we did a side-by-side migration, which means, and this is very effective in an architecture, if you have an integration system that shares information, you can easily put another one in the middle and slowly move interfaces from one system to the other without disrupting the environment. So that's called a side-by-side migration. IDM and Syllabus Plus, we did a full installation, or they did, and I'm just saying that we did, but they did. So how did this work? Slowly, you copy all the content from one system, you install a new system on the hosting provider, so Incudo installed a new system. We didn't do an upgrade, we couldn't do an upgrade because, as I said, the operating system patches were not properly installed. We could not use the system as it was delivered, we had to reinstall it. And instead of doing an upgrade, they installed a new system and imported all the scenarios into it. So we lost transactional data, but we didn't have to go through the hassle of an upgrade. Very different approach and very effective. Now, the key thing with going to a scenario where you have to change your ESB, or open heart surgery, as I like to call it, you have to test. And it's not very simple. There's not one person that has to test. We were connected to over 50 different partners across our landscape. Every single one had to test each scenario until it was fully proven. So I was more the communication partner in the middle, trying to get everybody in line. I didn't do any testing, but it's a lot of communication. At the same time, one scenario, put it live, test it, approve it. One scenario, put it live, scenario, push it. A very long and complex task to do. But we did it anyway. We had no choice. So this is a non-AWS picture. This is a picture that I understand. I'll come back to a picture that you guys will probably understand, but this is the architecture behind it. And I think the key difference here is that on top, this is where our enterprise service business is running on AWS, but it's a full SAP installation. So it's not a cloud-based service or anything. It's just running an SAP system on a cloud server. We use a tunnel to connect to this is our back office. We run pretty much all the systems in-house. So the PI platform is actually running in the cloud, but the rest is in-house. We use a tunnel connection for this, and then we have some other connectivities that just run straight over the internet. In the end, the platform is still on AWS. So this is a very simple architecture, and it's very effective when you need to connect different systems within or outside your landscape. Now, one thing that I'd like to talk about is the different scenarios. So PI I did, right? I explained to you, we started with a system, we didn't do an upgrade, we installed a new system, and we moved all the data across. For IDM, we did two different systems. Now, this is I guess this is kind of a joke. This is IDM for the University of Applied Sciences. Those kids need a little bit more explanation, because they're not really university students. And this is a university, we don't need any explanation, they just need to know what to do. It's a very simple, change your password, did you forget your password? No explanation to why, what you're doing, anyway. It's a different scenario. How it works is you export your system, and I'm going to have to explain it, help me again with S3, the scenario. Sometimes I'm going to have to call on Bart when it comes to technical and all the details and how you did it, because I don't really know. But you export the VMK files, right? The virtual image files. You install those on a S3, and then it runs on top of an EC2. Am I right? All right. Just learned that this morning. Um, and the problem with this is then once you booted up the system, of course, obviously, it needs a database. Right? It starts up and says, okay, give me the database. So the first step is actually moving the database to AWS, and I think this is database services. Very good. So the database service actually, this is a charm. This worked really easily. The problem was with actually running the virtual machine images. They were so old, you could not really upgrade them, believe it or not. That's very poor management on our hosting provider. If anybody is interested on reading on how do you actually migrate your database using RDS, Bart wrote a blog. It's clever enough, he wrote it in Dutch, so it's really not really shareable. But in case you are very good in Dutch, I would recommend you read it. Otherwise, just contact him on the information on this. So what does it look like? It's very simple. Like it's a command line. I was actually shocked because I'm used to SAP, right? SAP has over 20,000 tables with data. This is our IDM system, or actually for the HVA. This is all the tables there are. I couldn't believe it. I didn't realize that was, it only took about 20 tables to run an entire IDM system. I always thought it was much more complex than in reality it is. I guess this makes the difference in importing the data very easy because it goes pretty quick. There were some issues with production because there were some settings different on production, but in the end, this is the concept. First migrate the database, then migrate the virtual machines, the application servers. And the way they did it is actually pretty clever. Since they could not upgrade the systems, they could not upgrade the operating system because it was so old, they reinstalled the application servers with a new version talking to the same database. So you put it in the simple, I'm just going to guess one, simple storage services. There you go. So you put the stuff in simple storage service, reinstall it, make sure you actually use the latest version of the software, and then run now I'm going to go again, an Amazon machine instance. There you go. So once the Amazon machine instance was up and running, this was the latest and greatest version, we still had a kind of an issue. I'll get to this a little bit. And this is kind of a joke if you want to see how this really works. Is it sophisticated? No, it's a DOS box. You log onto the console and you do a very sophisticated migration of a system, and in the end all you see is a DOS box, and it's some really old school counter that counts up, which is, I guess you would expect a much more nicer dashboard in the end. Or maybe this is a nice feature enhancement for Amazon to make it user friendly. But how did they manage to do this? And I don't like to look back, but I'm going to have to help you a little bit here. This is the Dutch translation for current situation, which was actually a new situation. Amazon running the old system. This is the database. This is Amazon running the upgraded system. It was too dangerous for us to keep running on the old system, nor could we upgrade it. So what happened is, both the virtual machines that were connected to the database on the old level and the virtual machines on the new level are actually running together. And they used Route 53 to slowly move from the old application server with a non-patched version to the new one. Non-disruptive. And it worked because they shared the same database. And yeah, the moment you figured, okay, well, first we did 100%, right? You've got the old system 100%. Let's try one. Okay, this worked. Let's try two. Let's try three. Until all of them were actually moved into the new environment, which is this. A very non-disruptive and an innovative way of actually using the platform to upgrade a system without really upgrading it. Well, for Syllabus Plus, and Syllabus Plus is actually a very difficult system. It's almost a core system in the universities in Holland. It's a scheduling system. It schedules rosters, and which the most important thing is where as a student you have to look, oh, where do I have to go now? Where's my class? This constantly changes. Teachers get sick, classes are canceled, locations are shifted. You constantly need to know this information. If anybody's a software developer, I would say jump into this area because there's very little software vendors and they can actually solve this problem properly. This is a very poor attempt, I think. It's not scalable, but we're stuck with it right now. So at this moment, we just picked up that same system and run it in the cloud as well. So the same procedure, right? We just put it in the S3 bucket, exported the data, run the application service, also upgraded to the latest version, do the same thing with the database, run the AMI, and there we go. That's proven technology. Now, I guess you guys understand this probably better than I do. This has a lot of icons that you guys understand, but this is the new infrastructure. And it's maybe hard to read, but you can, if you can clearly can read here, I don't know if I have a pointer, but you see SAP PI, that's the first system that we migrated. And then there's also the IDM and the Syllabus Plus running on that platform. And this is a 3-system landscape, so it's the development, acceptance, and production. Am I good? Oh, okay. And but from my understanding, there's also another clever thing with this, is that if for some reason the productive environment fails, it immediately falls back on the other platform. I have no clue if that's exactly true, but this is how you explain it, right? So I don't know how that works. But so we have, without actually doing anything, we also have a high availability solution as a bonus. You know, we didn't have this before. So fortunately, we have never had to use it before, but you know, in case, I'd love to try it once. So this is the story about, you know, Incudo doing the migration. And mind you, they did this in 3 months, open heart surgery in 3 months, running a very, and taking up a very difficult task with a high responsibility with no option to fail. And it turned out to be very successful. So this happened in late 2012 and went live in January 2013, and we've been live with this ever since. So we started thinking, okay, what else can this do for us? Because we look at all the benefits now that it runs on the platform. Typically for SAP, if you want to scale up your SAP system, what do you have to do? You have to add more servers, add more memory. With this platform, we really don't. We can actually add more memory to the SAP system, and at the same time, the platform grows with it. We don't have to duplicate the systems in the old-fashioned way, a very effective way. We can use SAP the way we're used to use it. Users will not know the difference whether it runs in the cloud or whether it runs on within our own data center. It looks exactly the same. Downtime has been very minimal. We've never had any downtime. There was the security leak with Linux not too long ago, which every system had to be rolled out, and all our systems in our own data center had to be put down, upgraded, and put back online. Not the ones on the platform. I don't know how you guys did it, but you did it. So we didn't have to go down even for a very heavy security leak. There are some limiters. I'm going to have to be critical. We needed some really sophisticated VPN connections, and there were some boundaries onto what Amazon could do for us at that point. So we had to take some hurdles and make some adjustments in the architecture to actually support a certain level of encryption that some of our, like our hospital, for instance, needs heavy security. So we needed to bring in some expertise and change this a little bit. So maybe that's an enhancement that we would like to offer, bring in better encryption. And it comes with better monitoring capabilities. Apart from SAP monitoring that we do now, also, and if you look, I think it's on the previous picture, you can see that, well, the AWS platform comes with a lot of monitoring. You know, it comes up with a lot of extra information that we never had our hands on before. So just as a bonus, running on the platform, we get extra information that we never had before. So how do we move on? We make a split between business-to-business communication and business-to-consumer communication. In my opinion, this is a truly different area of working. By business to business, the one thing that needs to be, it needs to be reliable. Every message that is sent across the landscape needs to arrive. With business to consumer, this is different. If you have a mobile app, you want to try something and it doesn't work right away, you just try it again, and you try it again, and you try it again until it works. This is acceptable. People are used to this concept. But business to business is not acceptable. When you send a message, you need to make sure that it happens. And this means different configuration on 2 different levels. So what we decided is we use the SAP PI platform still for our business to business applications and business to business information exchange, but we needed a more flexible environment for our mobile communications, which is of course heavily in the market right now. Right? You have to have a mobile application for something. And Incudo Connect is a platform that actually runs on the AWS platform. It's an instance, or it's actually multiple instances of WebMethods AG is an integration broker, competitor of SAP PI. It's 2 competitors, so we actually have 2 integration brokers now, 2 competitors, both running on the Incudo and AWS platform for 2 different purposes. And this actually allows us to build applications that need a different purpose and user areas, where we can have mobile applications, fast responsive screens, real-time communication. Reliability in terms of processing the data is not the highest goal. It's about speed. If something doesn't work, you need to know it right away, and you just try it again. You don't want to wait. So how do we do this? I'll give you a little example, and I'll just skip through these pages real quick. One thing that we had to do is we have an Oracle information system for our students, and one of the goals of that system was actually to allow students to do a lot of things themselves, to register to for classes, to go online, and actually get their own grades, which is all very nice. But in the end, Oracle didn't really think about how students were supposed to do this. So it's a user hostile environment. Students heavily complained, and they went to the board of our university and they said, if you don't change this, we'll protest. We'll actually, we'll hijack you. Change this now, because you heavily invested in it and we don't actually get the benefit from it. So what we did is we built an application on top of our student information system, and we used the Incodo Connect layer to fully utilize the full potential of the information system, and at the same time allow heavy number of enrollments. Now, we process about 2 million records in our PI system, and tons more in the information system, in the Incodo Connect layer. Now, this doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you have to imagine this is all full load of data. This is a lot of data. It's not just sending a message and getting an acknowledgement. This is full enrollments, bytes full of enrollment, and multiply it by 2 million, it adds up really quickly. So this is an example how we can bypass our PI platform, use another platform to fully be flexible and build an application that actually fits the needs of our end users. So I won't go through this, but this is all real-time data, and there's no way we could have done this using the PI platform, not without any adjustments at least. And this is another thing, an example, a mobile application. This was the first try. When Incodo Connect said, we have this platform for you, we said, okay, let's try it. Let's build an application that basically retrieves all my grades on the fly. And that's what it does. It's our first attempt, and I guess everybody is now used to mobile applications, but this was 3-4 years ago, so we were pretty much early. And I think this is the last slide, and really I have no clue what it means. We're using a lot of Amazon. Ask Bart about how we're actually using it. In the end, all the components mean a lot to me, of course, because it's just a name. But how we're actually utilizing this is not my expertise. This is not why I'm here. I'm just a customer. But our partner took away our care, made sure that we're in the platform, and we're happy with this. And we're now starting expanding with the platform, see if we can do anything more. So, yeah. Okay.